Believe me, eternity in the company of Beelzebub and all his hellish instruments of death will be a picnic compared to 5 minutes with me and this pencil. Jagaloons, jerks and variations thereupon. This is Modern Escapism. Hello and welcome to the show. As always, I am the Prince of Pricks Oodles, and today I am joined by, he wouldn't batter an eyelid to stealing chocolate from a child, it's Stig.
I wouldn't. Hello.
Get too close and she'll put chewing gum in your hair, it's Candy Machine.
Also true. Hello.
At school, they called him the King of Wedges, it's Biggie.
Hello.
And finally, if we say he's a jerk, he'll just edit it out, it's Gadget.
It's also true.
Before we proceed, I want to let you know that we have a Patreon. I know regular listeners know this by now, but we've been doing some exciting things on our Patreon. Me and Stig recently just dropped our first Loki spoiler cast. Lovely little 45-minute chatter about it weekly. We're going to do 6 of those. I enjoyed it. Did you, Stig?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved doing stuff like that.
Nice to get a bit nerdy, so please have watched most of the MCU and Loki before you listen to that episode.
It's a very low barrier to entry, just 22 films and 2 TV series.
Crack on, people. Come on.
3 TV series.
Yeah, we do say this from the get-go, so if you carry on listening and you haven't watched stuff, be at your own peril.
Absolutely. And obviously we have got Do Dragons Dream of Scorched Sheep on there now.
Yep.
You will be ready for episode 2, I believe.
If you're a patron rather, by the time this comes out, episode 2 will already be up because that comes out a few days early on Patreon.
Oh God, what a deal. What a deal.
And I was spoiling you.
Unbelievable. And episode 2 is a banger. Trust me, I'm on it. I remember it.
You remember it? It was a month ago.
But yeah, the patrons on there. I mean, mainly it's to support us, what we do, and to make this hobby become more of a substantial body of work. It helps the network thrive, and especially like Gadget doing 5-hour edits and Stig just becoming an editor overnight. It helps us all, and it keeps us striving for more exciting things. All the details are there in a show notes. So please help us. All right?
I should get you on Comic Relief.
I felt like I had to sign up for the Patreon for a second then. I was like,
I mean, you can. You're going to get it back. But yeah, so as we do, without further ado, Gadget, what have you been up to?
It hasn't been the most eventful of weeks, but I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, I want to give a shout out to a streamer, a very good friend of mine, and he's written into the pod a few times, One Line Derek. He recently came back to streaming recently, and he's just made affiliate. So I kind of wanted to signal boost him because his streams are a lot of fun. He's a really, really nice guy. He's got the most wild energy that I've ever seen of a streamer. And if you go in there and subscribe to him, he has a challenge thing where basically you get to give him a 1-minute-long challenge. Oh. So I asked him, when I subscribed to him, I asked him to talk like Macho Man Randy Savage for a full minute while he was playing Mario Maker 2.
Is he a Nintendo guy?
He's a bit of everything guy, but yeah, he's been streaming a lot of Mario Maker recently. A lot of Switch games. I think when he first came back to streaming, the first thing I watched him play was Untitled Goose Game, and he just giggled his way throughout it.
Lovely.
So, he does stream at ungodly hours because he is American, so it's like 1 a.m. when I'm watching him stream, but everything gets uploaded to his YouTube anyway, so it's definitely worth watching him. He's a lot of fun, and he's a really lovely guy.
Get on that, listeners. Get on it.
I started listening to another D&D podcast because I ran out of Dungeons and Daddies. So I started this one called Severed Sons, which is, for people who are into D&D, that one is... unlike a lot of D&D podcasts I listen to, or the one we create, they're actually using a source book. They're not creating their own world for it. So they're playing through Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is a very famous D&D source book. And I'm about 4 episodes into it, and so far I really rate it. I'll probably have more words to say about it further down the line, but give Severed Sons a listen. That's really good.
Nice.
I'm impressed you finished the Dungeons and Dads one. I'm way behind on that already. Just because of time.
He never takes his headphones off.
No, I literally do. My headphones are on me all the time. But yeah, I did in the space of a year, I did Dungeon Dads, and then in the space of 2.5 months, I did Dungeons and Daddies.
Wow.
Just because I love that shit so much.
Wow.
But the main thing I want to talk about was Stig and I played through Hivebusters, the Gears 5 DLC the other day.
Yeah.
With our good friend and serial essay writer, Deadbeat Punk. If you haven't played it before, it is DLC for Gears 5, which I've talked about on the pod before. It is short. It's like it took us 2.5 hours to get through the whole thing. It's a 3-player co-op adventure in the Gears universe, which I think is supposed to bridge the gap between Gears 5 and Gears 6. It takes you away from the kind of the normal kind of grey drudgery of most Gears of War environments and takes you to a tropical island. Story-wise, it's absolute bobbins. It's bullshit.
It's silly, isn't it?
Well, it's not that it's silly. It's that it's trying to tell a story that needs 7 hours in 3 hours. Like you start off with these 3 characters. They don't like each other very much at the start of it. The heel turn for them becoming brothers and doing the big
within 3 hours.
Yeah, within 3 hours. They become very close, and within the space of 3 hours, I'm just like, no. Like in the cutscene before the one where you said you're my brother, you hated each other. So
it's just like us when we first started recording.
Yeah, but it does some fun things. It's nice to have proper 3-player in it, because when you do you can do 3 players in the main Gears campaign, but 1 player's playing the support robot Jack. So you only have like
was that
2
Stiggy by
there.
any chance? Because he was the one that was carrying you through the stream when I watched.
Stig wasn't necessarily carrying us. We were all pulling our own weight, I think.
I think
depends on your point of view.
Punk were carrying you all.
Definitely was.
Yeah, to be fair, Punk was carrying us,
Eat
actually.
No, it was a pretty much same all around. We all had died and got resurrected each. It wasn't like it was one person more than anyone else.
Yeah. I wouldn't play it for the story. Like I say, I didn't really care for the story very much. The advertised big bad in it is only in it for like 2 minutes, which is some Monster Hunter looking giant mutated chicken looking thing. But because the Gears gameplay is so refined and so slick and clever anyway, it's worth playing just because it's a bit more Gears.
Yeah.
I've never played Gears. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun to play. The gameplay is just absolute perfection. It's just some great shooting. There's not really any puzzles or anything like that. There's a couple of rooms where you've got to get the right person to interact with the right thing.
You didn't know which lift to get in.
No, we didn't. None of us did. But no, I enjoyed it. And the best thing about it was free.
Yeah, that's always the best price.
I mean, it's because it's on Game Pass, but like I think even if you bought the game, I don't think there was actually any charge for it. I think it was just a free update for it. But very slick, some nice voice acting, lovely graphics. Like the art direction in Gears 5 is exemplary anyway, but the way it looks in Hivebusters is absolutely brilliant.
Gorgeous, man. And that was me watching the stream, so it will look even better in person.
Yeah. And just in Dead Space 3, my connection crashed out in the main bad guy
a couple of times. Yeah.
And the main,
it was only me that didn't get booted out of the game. Punk got booted out a few times.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
If you want to watch that, if you don't have an Xbox or you don't want to play it on PC or anything like that, the entire stream is on our YouTube channel. So just search Modern Escapism on YouTube and you can watch that. But if you like Gears, play it. It's really well worth your time. And like I say, it takes about 2.5 hours to get through.
Yeah,
nice little challenge. Couple of tricky bits. I liked it. Very good.
I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed your little on the metal platform in the river of lava.
Yeah,
and stuff, yeah. It's fun.
Standard over the top Gears bullshit.
Yeah, it looked good. Looked really good. I'm gonna eventually play 5. I don't think I'm gonna go back to the old ones. I think I'm just gonna play 5 and then Hivebusters and enjoy the next genness of it.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't enjoy the story of 5 that much, or Hivebusters that much for that matter. The gameplay in them is actually absolutely brilliant. One of the best third-person shooters I've ever played.
Well, that's all you need. That's brilliant.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Candy, what have you been up to?
I've been reading a book this week.
Nerd.
I can in fact read. I've been reading Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. Andy Weir is the author of The Martian and also Artemis. So you might have seen The Martian. They made a film with Matt Damon.
I really like
I wasn't gonna do it. I can't help it. Author of The Martian with Matt Damon.
I like that film.
Yeah,
a lot.
I did too.
it.
It was
The Martian or Team America?
Both.
Didn't it get a lot of criticism about in relation to the book? But not having read the book, I've got nothing to compare to.
I think they changed the ending, didn't
great.
they?
They did. The ending in the book.
I hope you finished the book, Candy.
I finished the book.
Oh God.
The ending of The Martian makes a lot more sense the way it's done in the book than the way they do it in the film. In the film, they tried to give it a bit more of an emotional push, but it doesn't make sense in terms of the science.
Oh.
So this one is also very sort of science heavy. In fact, it's pretty hard. I don't know if you've read Artemis, but that's more of a sort of more of an adventure on the moon, whereas this one it's quite a hard science novel based in space. But being as I'm very non-scientific myself, it wasn't enough to put me off because there's enough of a fun story going on, and you just have to kind of accept the science as if it's the truth if you don't really know what they're talking about. So it's about a guy that he sort of wakes. He wakes up not knowing who he is, not having any memories. That classic trope. Through dreams and everything, he sort of realizes that there's been some kind of blip with the Earth's sun, and that it's slowly dying.
Oh no!
And he's been recruited to solve the crisis. And throughout further dreams, he discovers that he is in space himself, and he's been the one that's been sent on the mission to save the Earth. And it's a lot of a character study on himself, trying to decide why he made the decisions that he made, what led him up to being the person, because he's a school teacher, and it's kind of up to him to realize why he's been sent into space. But it's really, really good fun. It's quite light-hearted. You have to go into it with a sort of pinch of salt because it's quite far-fetched in places. But that's what makes it fun, I think.
You just hate it when you fall asleep and then wake up on an intergalactic mission to the sun.
If I had £1 for every time that happens.
All the time.
But I'd really recommend it. And also, if you're not much of a reader, it's on Audible as well.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
It's read by the phenomenal Ray Porter, who's one of my absolute favourite narrators. Brilliant.
I'm happy to hear it's a good one because I tried Artemis and I really didn't like it.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like Artemis, and I got that read to me.
Yeah. The problem I had with Artemis was that I don't think that Andy Weir at the time was very good at writing women.
Oh, possibly.
Yep. And with the lead character being a woman, it just as I was reading it smacked of, yes, this is a man writing a woman. And it wasn't good. I didn't enjoy it anyway. But I really enjoyed The Martian, so I was disappointed with Artemis when I didn't like Artemis. So I've got high hopes for this one. I want to like this one.
Yeah, I would recommend it. It's more science fiction than The Martian, and it's more hard science than Artemis. Excellent.
Brilliant. So, Biggie, you've been up to?
Well, I finished Final Fantasy VII. So yay! Finally got that off my plate.
But we didn't see it.
I don't know. There's no evidence of it actually happening.
Yeah. Yes, there is.
He's got his trophies.
He's got his trophies,
yes, yeah. But damn, wow. Sorry, what an anticlimactic end that was with the blue screen of death.
The actual game isn't. It's a good ending.
Yeah. But thank you to everyone that joined me on that. And apart from a few sound issues from the beginning,
there were no sound issues. You weren't listening to us. Go into the settings and change settings. What settings?
I was so thrown off by that happening and not even considering that there was actually a sound option in that little menu
in the config
that I've been seeing for 24 years, which I've never touched. I couldn't understand. I was going in and out of the PlayStation menu. I was looking in the sound and settings. I was looking at the one that highlighted the game, but not actually in the game. And people not emailing me, they were texting me. My phone was ringing on WhatsApp. You were calling me. It was just ridiculous. I was like, what is going on?
Mate, you had like 25 to 30 people watching that stream, and it was just a blue fucking screen. It was hilarious.
It was brilliant. It couldn't have gone better, I don't think. It was a perfect ending.
Yeah. So for those who were watching who don't know what happened, there is a thing when you stream from the PlayStation where they put it in there, which allows developers to like block out scenes from being streamed or shared onto YouTube if you're doing it directly from the console. And it's the original idea was when they put the share stuff in there, it was to stop spoilers
of a 25-year-old game.
Yeah, so Square Enix had obviously put that functionality in for the ending cutscene. So we sat there watching Biggie do the final battle with Sephiroth with One Winged Angel playing in the background, one of the greatest songs Nobuo Uematsu's ever written.
Ever.
And as soon as Sephiroth goes down on us on the stream, it just goes blue. With these 5 little bouncing kind of icons.
And I'm oblivious to this until they point it out.
And he's like, look at this. Oh, look at this. I'm like, we can't see it.
But not only does it go blue, it also cuts the game audio, so we couldn't hear the game audio. All we could hear was Biggie going, oh, well, Cloud's gone down into this pit, and he's fighting Sephiroth, and the live stream's taken over. And I'm sat watching it on the stream, creased laughing. It's one of the funniest things I've ever encountered.
I'm glad you found it entertaining.
Well, it just would be that thing, 24 years it's taken you to finish that game, and you wanted to share the ending with the world.
And we were saying, describe what's happening. He's going, oh, look, there's the high wind. What's happening now? They're in the high wind. You weren't describing anything at all.
It was brilliant. It was the best way you could have ended because it was a farce.
Incredible. One of my favourite moments this year already.
At least I got dressed up for it.
You did.
You look very dashing.
Oh, God, you look stunning.
In Oodle's shortlist for Nexus of the Year.
Absolutely, it really is.
But yeah, that was just really nice having the support that was there for such a weird anticlimactic end. But yeah, it's done. I actually genuinely felt a bit numb after I'd finished that. Just seemed like after all that time, it was like my comfort game to go back to and clearly, obviously, restart. Don't really know what I'm going to do next.
I do, Dragon Quest XI.
Well, yeah, I am actually playing that, so that might actually take over because that is quite an enjoyable game, to be fair.
And longer.
It's a good recommendation. Another 30 years later.
Trust me.
48 years this time.
It's almost triple the time it takes to beat Dragon Quest XI fully than it does with Final Fantasy VII. So
the other poor man's going to be on his deathbed if he plays at the rate he played Final Fantasy VII.
My first playthrough was 150 hours of Dragon Quest XI.
Wow.
And that's without platinum in it. So.
Yeah, the other weird thing I wanted to quickly talk about was it's one of the only Marvel movies I haven't seen in the Marvel universe, and that was The Incredible Hulk, which just popped up randomly in my playlist, and I just thought, I'll go and watch that.
What a weird
That's
film.
a weird movie. Such a weird movie. The only thing that stuck out more than anything else was why on earth, what's that guy's name? Roth?
Tim Roth.
Why he is in that role, I just
Abomination,
don't get it. He doesn't come across as a soldier. He's really small when he's in scenes with William
He's small
Hurt.
anyway.
But he's like, when they're chatting, it's such a weird view on the camera.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't come across like a soldier. And that he's supposed to be this super soldier that is a bit mad. And it seemed horribly miscast, in my opinion.
Isn't he basically playing his character from Lie to Me or something like that? Like, he's not really playing the character.
He's playing his Tim Roth from every Tim Roth film.
Yep. And
Angry Small Man.
Yeah, just the people in the background seem to be better than the main performers. I wasn't a big fan of Edward Norton in that.
Nobody was.
On
and off screen.
But the Hulk was pretty good. I thought, considering it was like a 2008 movie, it kind of looked good. The battle scenes were quite good. The change when he changes at one point,
it's better than Hulk.
Yeah, that was another strange one. They've not really nailed the Hulk really until the Avengers. But
we'll never see another Hulk film ever. I'm telling you now, we'll never see it.
There's not a lot they can really do with it.
No.
But Tim Roth was just, I don't understand what he was doing in that film. Really odd. But
Excellent.
That was it.
Excellent. Stig, you've been doing, darling.
I watched In the Heights this week.
What is that?
In the Heights is an adaptation of a Broadway stage play by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Hamilton
now
fame.
It all adds up.
So this tells the story of Usnavi, who is a bodega owner who has mixed feelings about closing his store and returning back to the Dominican Republic to restore his late father's beach bar, or staying in Washington Heights. It stars Anthony Ramos, who's also in Hamilton.
Yep.
Corey Hawkins, who played Dr. Dre in Straight Outta Compton.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Smits, Stephanie Beatriz, who's Rosa from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and Dasha Polanco, sorry, these pronunciations, and she's plays Diana in Orange is the New Black. And then everyone else, Lin-Manuel Miranda has like a small part in it himself, but like I think everyone else that's in it is like Broadway actors and singers.
Yeah.
So I didn't really know anyone else that was in it. But yeah, so from the get-go, you can literally tell this is by the same guy who wrote Hamilton.
Yeah.
Like the same sounds, inflections, and if you've watched Hamilton, you recognise like the rhythm of his hip hop style. Obviously, it's less epic in its feel and it's grandioso than Hamilton. It's more of a traditional musical and kind of takes a lot of its sound influences from Central and South America.
Yeah.
So it mixes rap, hip hop, and salsa.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it does it really well.
Does it blend really well, like
Oh,
salsa
yeah.
and hip hop?
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, songs are brilliant. So it starts out with a proper banger of a tune, dance routine. So like, if you are into it by that point, then just don't bother. So it's like, if the first song doesn't get you, then nothing is.
The rhythm doesn't get you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. There's nothing relatively special about the plot at all. It just kind of he wrote
There never
it.
is with musicals, though, is there?
No, he kind of wrote it based on some of his own experiences living in that area when he was younger. So it just kind of follows the life of various characters, like connected by this close knit community.
Yeah.
So you have things like the stories around lost loves, failed dates, ambitions, lost business plights.
Yeah.
Salon girls and that. Then it throws a few bit of real world issues in there. So there's some stuff that touches on racism and like the dreamers of America, who are like undocumented immigrants. So it touches a bit on that as well. But yeah, I thought the characters were like, they felt real.
Yeah,
it's enjoyable to kind of be in their presence. The cast is brilliant. They're all really strong, all really good singers, actors and dancers. The pace of it never lets up. Like it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long, but it doesn't feel like that. It just kind of nips along at a really good pace. It's vibrant, like full of life throughout, and it does a really good job of kind of mixing the New York aesthetics with kind of South American influences as well. So you've got New York as the setting, but a lot of like the imagery you're kind of seeing and the colors and that clearly come directly from like South America.
Oh.
Some great tunes in there. Like I really, really, really like the ones where it's kind of like the whole cast together.
The ensemble, yeah.
Yeah, so there's about 4 of them that are like really good, and at one point it blends 2 of them together really well. So there's like the 2 separate songs, but they kind of come one after the other, and you don't really like. It doesn't feel like the way they kind of blend really well together. It's really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's not on the scale of Hamilton.
Is it on Disney Plus?
No, it's in cinemas.
Oh, right. All right.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's not on the scale of Hamilton for me, although I know like I'm only really comparing the two because of who wrote it, rather than being, they're not similar at all.
As separate pieces, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this from the Empire magazine review summed it up really like perfectly. So Helen O'Hara says, it's a big, soppy, traditional musical, story about a tight-knit community helping one another through their issues with a shared sense of scrappy optimism and a killer sense of rhythm to enormous uplifting effect.
Nice.
So yeah, it's really good. I really enjoyed it. And as you do with these kind of things, I've been listening to some of the songs today.
Yeah, that's always good when you can bring something from a musical and you're listening to it out of context, but it still brings you back.
Yeah, you can actually get the music from the Broadway play and the film on Spotify.
Oh, lovely.
So the Broadway play, clearly Lin-Manuel Miranda played the lead part in that.
Yeah, that's where he's from, isn't it?
But he is not as good of a singer as Anthony Ramos at all.
No,
like, that's one thing about, as much as I love Lin-Manuel Miranda's like shows and his songs and his lyrics and everything, he's not actually a very good singer.
Oh.
Like, especially compared to the other people in the show, he's the weakest part all the time. But he sings in such a way where, like, his emotion is just pours out through the songs. So you kind of let that fact that he's not a great singer go because he invokes the emotion of the character so well through it.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Stig. Lovely. We'll check that out, I'm sure. Maybe not.
You won't check that out.
Like I did with the other one.
Hamilton.
They're really good. They're really, really good.
I probably will at some point.
This one actually has talking in it as well, actually. Should have mentioned that. But it isn't just singing all the way through like Hamilton. There's actually like breaks for acting and talking and plot. Excellent.
Okay, so I have just today been watching the football. Come on. Yes. Come on, England. So yes, we won Croatia 1-0. It was very good. Good feeling. How does everyone feel about it? I want to get Gadget's opinion first.
Yay, they did a sports ball.
Yes. Candy, how do you feel about the win?
I really felt strong about the 14th minute in. There was a really, really good tackle. And we just flew from there. It was always going to be a win.
Perfect. Wow. I thought Des Lynam were here.
That was brilliant.
Biggie, you caught the football?
I did. I thought we did quite well in the first half until the last quarter.
Really strong start.
We tailed off, but we got the goal. And then second half was a bit all over.
Stig, come on, give me some analysis.
Not much to say, really.
We should have had an extra goal, I think.
Yeah, Foden was so unlucky to come off the post that. But we started very strong. But then we kind of
it seemed like the heat got the better of us. Do you know what I mean?
They seemed to come back into it in that first half, and it just kind of seemed to be a bit of a 50-50 until we scored. So we won.
If it wasn't for our good boy Calvin Phillips assisting, good homegrown boy.
Actually, I was surprised by that selection. From being honest,
mate, he were all over it.
I know he was brilliant, but
he should have been man of the match. But give it to Sterling instead. Sterling.
Oh, okay.
But football was good. It was nice to see people in the stadiums. Obviously not jam-packed, but nice to hear the chants.
Some of the fans do like right wankers, I'm sorry, but...
Oh, yeah, dude. Every time they kept panning to the crowd and was there with tops off, I was like, put your fucking top back
Just
on.
look at them sometimes and go...
away. This is the BBC.
They're representing our country's fans, man.
But yeah, I don't know. It felt good. It felt good to watch it. I had a few beers with it. A few too many.
I missed the goal.
Did you?
Yeah.
Lovely. Well, lovely.
In the room I was going to get a drink and I was chatting to my sister-in-law, and then
it was a boring part of the game.
My brother
just came out of nowhere. But yeah, that's enough of football chat for now. But you'll get our weekly update, I'm sure. But good start.
The inevitable one will be like, we got knocked out.
Yeah. But the main thing I want to chat about is Sweet Tooth. It's a show I have been watching on Netflix. I am on episode 5. It only dropped, I think, other day. So powering through it. Sweet Tooth is based on a Vertigo comic from a few years back. If you don't know the premise, basically, at some point, a global pandemic happened. Yay. And a lot of the population died from it. And something even stranger happened. Human-animal hybrids were born. Very strange-looking critters. Half armadillo, half human. All babies. All little babies. And then it cuts to a man and his baby escaping the pandemic, the riots and everything, into the wilderness to set up a life away from crumbling society. It turns out that man has got a hybrid baby. It's got antlers, and that's Gus, his son Gus. The first episode is basically how Gus is brought up by his lovely dad, played by is it Will Forte? I think his name is. Yeah, he's really good in it because he's the one that's like he's usually daft, isn't he? He's quite a comedic actor and stuff like that, but he's lovely in it. And yeah, it's really strong start. It's a bit like Fallout, Last of Us, Lion, Witch and the Wardrobe.
That's a hell of a combination.
Yeah, and Bambi.
It is actually a family drama. I think it's rated 12. So I think the comic. I've not read the comics.
I have not heard of it myself.
It didn't last too long, if I remember. And the comics is a bit darker, a bit bloodier, but not ridiculous. It's not Judge Dredd. Do you know what I mean? It's not Spawn. But yeah, a really strong start from Netflix with this one. It looked gorgeous. I'm not expecting where it led to. I'm on episode 5 now, like I said, and it's starting to become a bit of a really cool road trip adventure without the roads.
Dare I say, will it likely to avoid the coal of Netflix tendency to cut series just as they seem to be getting going?
I don't know, because it's number 1 at the moment, but then again, new things tend to be number 1 for a little bit, don't they, on Netflix?
Let's see what.
But I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty strong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's see what that is, because that'll be a good indicator on Netflix. Can it? 98 critics, 91 audience. So yeah. I probably will get. Do
you know what the main thing I really like about it is it's post-apocalyptic, but it's beautiful post-apocalyptic. There's no nuclear bombs hitting or anything like that. Nature has taken back. It's gorgeous to look at. It's all set in New Zealand, even though it's supposed to be America. It's supposed to be Yellowstone Park and stuff. But as we all know, New Zealand's got one of the best environments on Earth. It's gorgeous. But yeah, massive camera pans and stuff like that. And strangely enough, it's made by the guys that did The Flash, the TV show
right.
The Flash. And it's got a lot of the characters from The Flash in it. But it's The Flash with a way bigger budget. But yeah, I can't really review it too much because I'm only on episode 5. But really strong show. And you can watch it with kids. Well,
I wasn't like sure on what to do with that, to be honest. I kind of watched the trailer and I was a bit like, the trailer didn't grab me that much. Maybe I'll wait to see when you finished it. I've
been watching it with my son, and he's been compelled by it. The young kid that plays Gus, or AKA Sweet Tooth. He's adorable. He's brilliant.
So cute.
Yeah. Have you been watching it, Candy?
Funnily enough, I started it on Friday and I finished it. I absolutely devoured it.
Oh, don't spoil it, but is it still as good as it starts?
Yes, it gets better, actually. And it's funny that you should say that you got Fallout and Last of Us vibes, because I had that exact same thought. And that led me on to think as well that they're making a Fallout TV show, and wouldn't it be amazing if they were the ones that produced... they're not. It's
HBO, isn't it?
It's the producers of Westworld that are doing the Fallout show. But if they can get it anything like that...
It's beautiful post-apocalyptic, isn't it? It's
and it takes... Without ruining it, it does take some... it's a family show, but it does take some dark turns. There's a couple of scenes in it, and I'm not sure if you would have got to it yet, but it took me aback.
I have seen blood in it. Not gore, blood. There's a difference, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got a Bambi vibe to it as well, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I'm not obviously explaining it brilliantly, but the hybrids are... how do you explain the hybrids, really? They're just half animal, half human. And humans don't like them.
Fair enough. That seems to be an easy way to explain them.
Bit of a X-Men vibe to it. I mean, 80s X-Men, you know, where they didn't like them.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe to it. But yeah, really good, Sweet Tooth. I recommend it so far, and Candy devoured it. So, right then, Biggie, what are we talking about this week?
This week, we're going to be talking about the best jerks to grace our TV screens. It's not the 4 that I can see in front of me. Those characters that, whilst annoying and insults, just toe that fine line between being a lovable jerk to a complete bastard and baddie.
Excellent. Jerks, a.k.a. knobheads. Like I say, these are not like necessarily evil people. They're just jerks. So we're going to start with Candy, actually.
Oh, it's exciting. I've never been first before.
Oh, you're first now.
So I've got a couple of like lesser known ones. I'm starting with Ian Grimm from Mythic Quest.
Yeah.
Such a prick. Absolute such a prick. He's a creative director at an MMORPG, and I know Mythic Quest has been covered before on the show, so I won't go too much into it. He's a complete, arrogant, egotistical, just absolute piece of shit. But you just can't help a complete bell end, but you just can't help but love him. he can't let anyone come up with any kind of idea without belittling it. Or if he does like an idea, he has to sort of frame it as if it's his own, or that he's come up with it himself, or it's become his idea then.
The whole thread in the first episode about the shovel.
The bloody shovel.
Yeah.
And we've all had that happen to us at some point in the workplace, I'm sure, so we can all relate to it as well.
He insists in being called Iron.
Well, actually, to be fair, the reason that he's called Iron is actually not a really dickish one, actually.
I suppose, yeah.
Without spoiling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good reason.
Yeah, he's just got such alpha vibes, isn't he? I particularly liked when an absolute model employee moved towards his office, which he has to have above everyone else, I might add.
Yeah,
so he's got this office looming over everyone, just lording it. And he takes a dislike to this absolutely lovely employee because he's taller than he is. So this poor employee gets sent to the basement of the building, never to be seen again. But yeah, as you said, the reason he calls himself Iron is covered in, to make it that he's not an outright arsehole, but he's just a prick. He's possibly sort of overcompensating from a lack of something that he had in his life, but at the same time, he treats people the same way that he was treated. He's constantly insecure, which probably did stem from various things, and he's very aware that his now co-creator Poppy is like a far superior coder than he is, but he's the creative force, so it's a good symbiotic relationship the two of them have, while still banging heads constantly. And he's just the depth. If you were to look up prick in a dictionary, there'd just be a picture of him.
Next to mine.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say yeah?
Oh, sorry. It's very hot. That slipped out. But he's just such a great character as well. And they did a special that was kind of filmed over a Zoom call. And a bit more of his kind of personality came out towards the end of it to show that he does. It's not necessarily a soft side, but he can empathise with people, and he is actually there when it counts, and probably that he is quite a good boss when he needs to be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but he does also start that episode by doing Zoom calls from his hot tub.
Yeah. And an excuse to take his shirt off.
Well, being completely naked in his hot tub and just standing up on the Zoom call.
And he has to be the one that's late as well.
I'm yet to do that, but it's happening.
Yeah, he gets the hump when he's not the last one into the Zoom call.
Yes.
But, I really, really recommend Mythic Quest. It's really good. And if there's a second season out now as well, so, even if you just pay, however, just for a month for, what is it, Apple TV?
Yeah, Apple TV Plus.
Yeah.
I'll just buy a new iPhone, you get it free for a year.
Yeah.
I do want to watch this show. I really do.
It's really good. Really enjoy it. Excellent. Brilliant. Good start. Biggie.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah. Again, you do it so randomly. I'm never ready.
It's not random to me.
I wanted to talk about a character from a TV show, Suits, and it's Louis Litt. He is played by Rick Hoffman brilliantly. He's another character where it's a real love-hate relationship with this guy. He basically plays a corporate attorney. He's a managing and named partner of the firm. He was promoted to the position of senior partner at one point. His journey to get his name up on the wall certainly took its turns, but it generally involved bribery, blackmail, lies, treachery, all the good stuff. The problem with this guy is he has a real rivalry with the very handsome hotshot lawyer that also works there, Harvey Specter. And their relationship is what drives Lewis to sort of make all these issues. So he's actually got a catchphrase, which is, "You just got lit up." He printed it on cards. He printed it on cards. He printed it on mugs. I mean, the guy is just so self-obsessed. It's ridiculous. His character is Jewish, which gets referenced to a few times. He's a graduate of Harvard University. He's well known as a superb trainer of the associates at the firm. The problem being that he shared his senior partnership news with his rabbi, and at one point he referred to his therapist, Dr. Lipschitz, as a Nazi because of his German accent. But yeah, I mean, it's just the fact that he's very annoying. He plays it brilliantly, Rick Hoffman. So Lewis is annoying. He looks annoying. The poor guy has a certain look. If you Google it, you'll see what he looks like. But he's just not Harvey Specter, so he plays that role so well. He's absolutely amazing in it. But it's a real love-hate relationship, as I mentioned. So what Lewis does is tries to overcompensate. He tries to always one-up Harvey, but Harvey always gets the better. And the fact that this rivalry drives Lewis to pretty much put the firm at risk at various times through the series, because he just tries his hardest to do things. He, for example, one person of the firm who owned the business was trying to do a dodgy deal behind everybody's back and trying to stop Harvey getting his name up. Lewis actually got blindsided by Daniel and ended up having to be almost the fall guy for all the financial dodginess, the corruption that was going on behind. And Lewis still voted for this guy instead of Harvey because he didn't want Harvey to get his name up, even though the guy had just basically set him up for a fall. Lewis ends up basically revealing secrets to anybody in the firm that he knows will affect somebody else. Doesn't care how it will affect them, how it will hurt them. Any relationship he has with anybody will be ruined because of anything he reveals, but he will still do it to one-up somebody. But at some point during any of the seasons, Lewis somehow makes you sometimes feel sorry for him. That he almost feels like he's been bullied in his life, that he's not always had the best cards dealt to him. So there is a bit of sympathy for him at times, and then he goes and does something else.
I was going to say he burns that sympathy pretty quickly.
Very much so.
It tends to happen, though, doesn't it, with these jerks?
Somebody on Reddit described him as saying he wants to be loved, he needs to be loved, he's desperate for affection, he'll do anything to get it, he's viciously effective at his job, he says whatever comes to his mind, he's immature, he's spiteful, he tries to swagger around. I mean, that just kind of sums him up pretty much.
It's
really hard.
scarily.
But it's the way that the role's played. It's beautifully done. And yeah, he's a great character in the show. But you sometimes you just get so wound up by what he does.
I've never watched Suits, but when I see the trailer, I'm like, ooh.
Suits is pretty good. I really enjoyed the first 4 seasons of it.
And I know it's called Suits. I know it's called
the
Suits,
same.
but they look fucking smart, them boys. They look
Yeah,
really
it's
good.
It's a very
concept
sexy
is really
program.
Yeah, they look good.
What got to me by the 4th season, I think, was literally the season would start with a case, something happened, and then everybody just walks into everybody else's office, slams down some paperwork, they pick it up, read it very quickly, and then one of them storms out, and that pretty much happens every episode.
Yeah,
it's just so weird.
Yeah.
After the kind of the 3rd season, the central conceit of the show has kind of run its course, and everyone's a bit too experienced. Like it was a perfect 3-season show, and they tried to push it to 6 seasons, and
it's still going. I think
work.
It's up to 8 or 9 or something now.
What?
Yep, still going.
How?
Exactly.
More suits to wear.
Yeah. Nice show, but yeah, Lewis, man, he's a dick.
If you're listening, Lewis, you're a dick. You fictional person.
It should also be said the actor who plays him, you'll see him a lot in TV playing a dick.
Yeah.
Like he's one of those bit part actors that will come up and he'll play like it's not so much typecast, but he'll play a bit of a dickhead character in like I don't know, like the X-Files or CSI or something in the background.
He has like that face.
Serial bit part actor.
Yeah, he's playing on the fact that he has been born with this face that kind of annoys you in its own way. And I hate to say that because
it works for him.
Yeah, and that is it. He gets those roles. That's why.
Excellent. Gadget, your first jerk. Jerk it, baby.
That is definitely the title of the show.
It's going to have to be. So the first one might be a slightly controversial choice because I know the entire world loves him, but I'm going to talk about Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation.
Oh, he's a jerk. He's
a lovable jerk.
Yeah.
He's still a massive arsehole.
Oh, he's a prick. Yeah. He's a prick.
If you worked with him, you'd fucking hate him.
Oh, yeah.
So Ron Swanson, for those who haven't seen Parks and Recreation, is one of the side characters, although he does have his own.
He steals every scene.
Goes on. Yeah, he steals every scene. It's played by Nick Offerman expertly. He is a slow-talking, very calculating libertarian working for a local government in the US. He's a man who hates the government.
Yeah.
So as a result,
literally
does does his best to slow everything down. The things he enjoys are solitude, whiskey, meat, breakfast food, solitude, and generally annoying other people. He dislikes forms of affection. He dislikes personal relationships. He basically dislikes everything that's not exactly what he wants when he wants it.
God, that's me.
We're getting all his traits out today, aren't we, guys?
Yeah. He does have a sweet side, but it kind of comes out reasonably rarely. He only really interacts with people to try and get one over on them. There is a wonderful series of episodes, probably the third season of Parks and Rec, where some auditors come in and start auditing the Pawnee government.
Yeah, season 3.
And they are basically proposing a lot of budget cuts because the government is massively over budget. And he giggles every single meeting. And he goes up to the auditors and says, I would like to be in this meeting, but this isn't to do with your department. I just want to see the cuts happen. and stuff like that. He is a massive arsehole. And the entire world loves him. Like, he is, generally speaking, most people's favourite character in Parks and Recreation. Like, I mean, the thing is, Parks and Recreation, almost every character in it is a jerk in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. Apart from Jerry.
Oh, yeah, Jerry.
Jerry, Gary.
Yeah.
He's lovely. But yeah, everyone's jerks to Jerry.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ron Swanson, I don't know, like I like him. He's very funny. He gets some of the best lines in the show, and it's Nick Offerman's performance is absolutely
he's the most memed
hysterical.
in that show.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
That scene where he goes to get the is it the replacement of bacon or something, and he goes, "Can I have some more?" And he's like, "Here you go." And he just puts it straight in the bin in front of the guy.
It's the vegan bacon. Yeah, it's the man's insane. I love him.
He is insane.
He is a huge jerk. The character softens slightly as it goes on because, like,
I agree.
in the later seasons, he meets someone who he starts having a relationship with, played by Lucy Lawless.
Yeah,
of all people.
He does that Dwight Schrute thing where his character softens
and grows
and grows. Yeah.
Yeah, maintains some of the arsehole tendencies, but becomes a little bit more affable,
human.
Yeah. I mean, that's still stretching it for Ron.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
One of my favourite episodes involving Ron is when the group go hunting as a team building exercise, and someone accidentally shoots him in the back of the head with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like a glancing blow. And so he's been taken back to a cabin, put to bed, and they're trying to medically triage him. They're trying to see how badly he's hurt and all that. and all he wants is just his bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
He says, the nurse is saying to him, says, you've been shot, you can't drink. I will drink.
He's not going out sober.
Downs the bottle of whiskey. It's absolute legend of a character. But yeah, massive arsehole. So I'd still recommend Parks and Rec, though, even though 90% of the characters are arseholes.
Yeah, breeze through season 1. That's what I can say.
Well, even not bother.
Not bother.
When me and Pip did a rewatch of it recently, we just didn't even bother with season 1. No. A little bit like when we rewatched The Office, we didn't bother with season 1. We just started both of them straight as season 2.
Straight through.
I think it's the curse with Greg Daniels.
It is the Greg Daniels curse.
Yeah, puts out these TV programs with unwatchable first seasons.
I think it's because he doesn't know which characters are going to stick. That's how I see it. But yeah, great choice. Stig.
Okay, my first option is Dr. Cox from Scrubs. Played by John C. McGinley. He is the attending physician and residency director of Sacred Heart. He is a man who hates himself, his colleagues, his partner, his boss, and pretty much everything. He even he tells JD that the best way to be a doctor is to be an island, and this man is the very definition of an island, and he has no time for people trying to invade it. He has this inflated self-esteem and grandiosity ranging from uncritical self-confidence to delusional sense of expertise. He's an insult machine. Like that's the best way I can kind of describe him.
I know people like that.
Yeah, he's like, his delivery is just perfect as well. It's like either from a one-liner or to the nicknames he comes up with, or like just long epic rants. he has this like intensified speech that's so rapid and like no one can ever interrupt him, where he's just focused. It's like a focus on self-amusement, and it's like non-stop talking regardless of the other person's participation or interest. So even if someone's like tuned out what he's saying, he's like, no, I'm going to get this out and I'm going to tell you what I think. And it's just, I just think McGinley just plays this part so well. Like I said, his delivery of stuff is like second to none. It's like he's very sarcastic. A lot of the time he's very sarcastic, or he's loud and shouty rants, and even at times he's a bit menacing. But like, because there's one moment where he's trying to teach a class about a defibrillator, and Elliot walks in late, and then they all get distracted, and he's just kind of stood there like biding his time, waiting for them all to kind of sort the shit out and listen. And then JD comes on and goes, "This is the calm before the storm." And he goes on a massive rant, but he doesn't shout. He just says it very calmly and very at a normal level, and just tells them how it is and how they're a bunch of shits and everything. And then right at the end of it, he just does this little laugh, and it's really unnerving, but just brilliantly done. And he's just like, "You nervous guy, get here and take your top off." It shows how people do this.
For the listeners' benefit, I'll find that clip and I'll stick it in the edit.
Listen, I know it's a cliche, but sailors say that it is indeed the calm before the storm that lets you know that danger's coming.
First off, let me just say thank you. For the last couple of months, I have been adrift in a sea of puppy dogs, lollipops, and let's face it, mediocre metaphors. Luckily, you people were kind enough to piss all over learning a procedure that could determine whether some poor sucker lives or dies. And that reminded me of something that I wanted to remind you of. Because you see, I am accountable. I am accountable for the continuous, crashing, undeniable amateurism that you people drag into this hospital day in and day out. And believe you me when I tell you that the next time one of you perpetual disappointments doesn't even have the common decency to try and do better at something you supposedly do, I will go ahead and toss your sorry ass out of here in about 10 seconds, and then I will forget you forever in the next 5. Okay, nervous guy. Bring that nervous butt up here, lose the shirt. We're going to show these good people how this thing works. Nice tan there, champ. Clear.
Yeah, it's very good. But he has this really uncanny ability to finish someone off perfectly, and then walk away before they even have a chance to process what he said or like say anything back to him. I think, but he does it. He strays on that side of being really funny and not a bad person. So when you're watching him, you don't think this is an absolute bastard. What he says just makes you laugh. Well, it makes me laugh anyway.
Yeah.
Like I think this kind of sums him down as well. When I was kind of like looking, I was watching clips and everything for this, and I found this one of him where he comes in. I think it's right close at the start of Scrubs, and he's talking about why he took on the residency head. And he says, "Is it for the extra $4 a week, my paycheck, or a chance to finally make a difference in this godforsaken hellhole?" At which point, Elliot seems very impressed about, it's to make a difference. And he's like, "It's about the $4, trust me." Like, he cares more about getting $4 more than actually making a difference. But, like, behind all that, he's still very well-meaning and actually a really caring person. It just does it in his own really weird way.
He's
like,
a doctor at the end of the day, so...
Yeah, like, he may come across as an arsehole, but he's constantly pushing, like, the 3 main, like, casts of JD, Elliot, and Turk to be better doctors, because he knows they can be, like, he knows they're actually good doctors,
There's
but they can be
potential
better.
there,
Yeah, like, he actually respects them because he knows how hard being a doctor really is.
Yeah.
And, like, right there, I'm going to spoil this, so if you haven't watched Scrubs...
I haven't, but I'm fine.
Yeah. Right at the end, he finally admits that JD is a brilliant doctor and calls him his friend.
Is JD the main guy?
Yes, JD is the main guy. But he doesn't know JD's listening to this.
I love that scene. It's so
So,
good.
so basically, JD gets this intern to say something bad about him as he walks out. And then Dr. Cox goes on and says, no, he's this. He's one of the best doctors I've ever worked with, and he's my friend. And JD's like, I knew it! And the look and the response from Dr. Cox is just like, fuck's sake. It's just like, yeah. And he turns to the intern, and she's like, oh, that went really well. He went, yeah, he gets to leave. You don't. And she's like, oh, I didn't think that through. And he's like, you did not.
I've not seen Scrubs. I know the show, but John C. McGinley's brilliant in most things. He always stood out for me in Platoon. I thought he was excellent in that because he plays that kind of role in Platoon as well. And I thought he was superb.
I was like, because most of his career was like military films, war films, that kind of thing. Like because of his physique and his general attitude and stuff like that. I always love seeing him in comedy.
Yeah, he's so good at it.
He is,
obviously in Scrubs, but I don't know if you've seen Office Space. He plays one of the recruitment consultants in that. In the still huge muscle-bound body that he's got, like strapped into a business suit, and he's so funny. Like the dialogue is amazingly quick, and he's got wonderful comic timing.
Yeah, like I say with JD as well. Like there's this weird father-son relationship. Even though majority of his like more that JD is a dog and constantly goes back to him looking for approval.
Yeah.
And he kind of gives it in this weird way, but often insulting way as well. But like he even like he's such a jerk to JD that he even makes him into a verb. Like he says, "You've been wrong so many times that I'm not even going to say something's wrong anymore. I'm just going to say that it's a Dorian." So he just constantly refers to when everything's done someone wrong. He's like, "That's a Dorian," and something like that just really pains JD. But yeah, he's the only man in it that will stand up to Kelso, and that kind of shows how much he does actually care. So he's a dick to Kelso, like the head doctor, like the boss of the hospital. Yeah, but he's like I think that kind of shows that he's the voice that stands up for the other doctors.
He might not be in charge, but he's the lead.
Yeah, so he's a jerk, but he's funny and clever and ultimately well-meaning. And of course, he gave birth to the wrong meme. So,
which I have seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent, good pick. Now mine. I knew you guys were going to go full American, so I've gone English. My first one is Derek Edward Trotter, also known as Del Boy, from the 80s, 1981 to 1991 officially, show Only Fools and Horses. Now, for our American listeners, you may have never seen this. You may have, actually. I think
it's been on BBC Worldwide a few times.
Yeah, it's probably gone international. Only Fools and Horses has been ranked in like top 10 British sitcoms of all time, really. Due to its age, there are problematic things about it, but we're not talking about
Lots of them.
A lot of them, yeah. We're not talking about that today. We're mainly talking about the fact that Del Boy is a prick. Probably, out of all the cast in that show, he is the biggest jerk in that. He is quite a bad person.
Even over Boise?
Yeah, I think he is. He's worse. I think he's worse.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd say Boise's worse because Boise has nothing redeemable about it.
No, I think Boyce's more evil.
I think it's a pure baddie.
Yeah, he's just a pure baddie. So I know a lot of our listeners know exactly who he is. He's a wheeler dealer. He's the president of Trotter's Independent Traders, and they live in a rundown part of, is it Peckham?
Yep.
It's Peckham, yeah, Peckham, in the Nelson Mandela House. Yeah, that's it. A block of flats. And they are quite poor people. As a family, there's Del Boy, Rodney, and Grandad, and later Grandad passes away, and it's Uncle Albert, but it's basically a very similar role. For a lot of the show, it's all set in this flat, this apartment, and it's just the absolute power of Sir David Jason and Nicholas Lyndhurst just bickering for half an hour most episodes. It's quintessentially British. It's London, basically. It's very like a lot of the scenes he's down at the market selling hooky gear, what they call, which means like off the back of a lorry, just dodgy stuff like cheap Calvin Klein boxers, stuff like just weird, dodgy watches and stuff like that. But yeah, what I've done, rather than explain what Only Fools and Horses is and why he's a prick, I've brought my favourite moments of his, or his most prickish moments.
All right.
So, one of the earliest exploits, he stole some lead from a building site, and it turned out to be a lead-lined fallout shelter. They put the fallout shelter on the top of a tower block. And yeah, that's one of my favourite moments. But yeah, he stole that from some builders. He went to Miami on holiday and was mistaken for a mafia boss, and they used him as a decoy. He then used the mafia boss for a better holiday. There's the fancy dress one, the famous one where they're dressed up as Batman and Robin. The car breaks down, so as they're running, it looks like Batman and Robin are there. He does a lot of prickish stuff at that council meeting, and the world famous falling through the bar scene where he's trying to show off in front of some ladies in a club, and he's leaning against a bar, and then the barman comes and lifts the bar up, and he falls straight through it, which is an absolute classic bit of comedy. But as well as him being a prick, and he definitely has a criminal record, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, the police know him by name. He knows them by name.
HMRC will be onto him.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be Inland Revenue back in
Inland
those
Revenue,
days.
yeah. He'd probably never paid tax at all.
Was it the one I always remember is where they're trying to make I think they're trying to make wine or something like that in the flat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get to see where they've got the stills set up and all that, and everything's kind of brewed, and they go off to bed and all the bottles start exploding.
Yeah.
Because they've over fermented it.
There's the Peckham Springs episode where they find a little bit of a water. They think it's a spring, but it's just a burst pipe. But then they sell Peckham Springs with its healing qualities, which is a good one. But
Chandelier.
The chandelier. Oh yeah, the chandelier. But that's not him being a prick on that one.
No, but
that's him just being incompetent.
Yeah.
Very funny.
I mean,
it's very funny.
To be fair, you could sometimes feel sorry for Rodney, his brother, but he's just to say he's got
not
a few
really all there.
GCEs. It's not very clever, is he?
No,
not very clever at all. But as much of him being a jerk, he is a consummate family man, and he'd literally do anything for his brother. He's taken a beating a good few times for Rodney and his friends. But his sheer motivation is profit over decency, without a shadow of a doubt, and that's what really defines him as a jerk. If you asked him to hold on to £10 for you, you wouldn't see that £10 for a long time. You know what I mean? He's not trustworthy, but he's lovable. So yeah, that's my pick, Del Boy, Derek Trotter. Yeah. And now we'll move swiftly back to Candy.
For my second pick, I've also gone English.
Finally,
this is a character based. This is a character from the BBC mockumentary This Country. It's Martin Mucklow.
Oh.
I don't know if you've seen This Country, but it stars Kerry and Curtin, who are cousins that they've grown up in this Cotswold village. Absolutely nothing happens, which I can relate to. And Martin Mucklow is Kerry, the main character's dad, and he's also played by her real life dad. All Kerry wants is a relationship. He's gone on. He's had more kids. He's not with Kerry's mum anymore. All Kerry wants is a relationship with her dad, and she just wants for nothing. She just wants him just to have a little bit of love, and he's just completely ignores her. He's also a serial peeper as well. So he was peeping in the 70s. He was peeping in the 80s. Peeping in the 90s at Auntie Linda. He says he hates it.
Little peeper.
Absolute serial peeper. At one point in the show, he manipulates Kerry into actually going to prison for him. He's done some sort of dodgy deal, and because she just wants a bit of love, she wants a bit of attention, she wants to prove him right, she agrees to take the fall. And she says, "Okay, come on, Dad, let's go. Take me to the police station. I'll
Take me away.
take me away. I'll go and admit to everything. Take me to the police station. And he says, well, it's not really on my way home, Care. So he can't even take her to the police station. So she said that her final words to him before she says that she will take the rap for it is, "You do love me, don't you, Dad?" And he goes on to say, well, it's not about love, Kerry. And he goes on to quote, and I'll do a dramatic reading for you.
Oh, lovely.
He goes on to say, "A couple of years ago, I had a job. Long haul lorry driving for Hawkins Bazaar. And one day, I was coming back from Dover late at night with a lorry load of puppets. And this little dog darted in front of me. No collar, no nothing. I swerved to avoid him, but, well, I hit him head on. I stopped the cab, got down, and its legs were mangled like a drawer full of phone chargers. I picked him up, cradled his head as he was dying. I looked into his big brown eyes, and I felt absolutely nothing. And you know why? You know why? Because I've got no empathy. Zilch, zero, nothing. 0 points, nothing."
What a guy. What a guy.
Absolute bellend. But the whole sort of story arc with Kerry is her just desperately wanting attention from her dad, taking the fall, going to prison for him. She actually does go to prison for him.
Yeah.
And realising that actually maybe he is a prick and maybe there's better people in her life that will look after her. There's one of the main characters is a vicar, and he sort of is more of a father figure to her and Curtin than either of them have got. But he's there's something just fucking funny about him. he is funny.
I have seen a few episodes of this, and I enjoyed what I watched. It's a weird mockumentary style as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I don't think a lot of people have seen it. It's been out a long time.
I know it was critically well liked.
She famously turned up. I think it was possibly the BAFTAs wearing a Swindon Town dress.
Yeah.
That was it.
No, I haven't seen that. That's definitely gone past my radar. I'll check that out.
Oh, you'll like it.
Yeah, our generation growing up with just the beginnings of technology, but still going out to play and make dens and everything. And it's just them having never really properly got out of that phase. There's just nothing to do in this country town. Mm-hmm. It's funny, especially if you grew up with nothing to do.
Absolutely. Excellent, great choice. And if you've not seen Our Country, go for it. Absolutely. Who are next?
Biggie.
Cut this out.
It's Biggie.
Yeah. Biggie, you're next.
Yeah, well, I've gone with again British. It's all come back. It's
Good.
Coming home. But yeah, I've picked somebody a bit obvious, and it is David Brent,
the biggest jerk in history.
And I don't know. I mean,
We've all
I've
had
seen
that boss.
Oh yeah, I've seen. I've been like him as well. What's frightening when you see a character like him? There's just little snippets that obviously Ricky Gervais has collected of people he knows, what he's observed, and when you actually recognise just a very small snippet of yourself in someone like that, it's just frightening. And he just delivers that character of David Brent just so well. It's a character that's utterly obsessed with pretty much just being liked by everybody he meets. That's all he kind of wants. He just wants to be the funny guy, the entertainer. He wants to be the best boss ever, and he's completely oblivious to the fact that he's not. He is obviously from The Office, in case anyone doesn't know who he is. But I mean, right from the very first episode, when he's interviewing a guy for the job as a forklift driver, the guy isn't even qualified.
I can't
but he
cope
would
with
wants
that
this guy to like him, so he goes out of his way to hire him, even though he's completely wrong for the job. It's the same episode where it ends up with a prank on Dawn, who is his real put-upon receptionist. This is the same receptionist that receives a fax. This is back in the days when faxes were still sent through. A fax about an important agenda about the meeting that he's about to have.
He says, put it in the special filing cabinet.
Put it in the special filing cabinet. And he goes, what's that? And he goes and chucks it in the bin. And then later on, he claims he's never received that fax in front of her. And Dawn points out it's the one that you screwed up and chucked in the bin. I mean, it's just, he's just such a dick. It's untrue. My favourite episode myself is when the outside facilitator comes in to do the training, the team building day.
Oh no! Yeah,
and David Brent he can't even
Wants
let
to take
a guy
over, doesn't
hold.
he?
Yeah, he can't let a guy do a training session just for the simple fact that's what he's there for. He still doesn't want to be upstaged by anybody else. He does his utmost to take over that meeting to the point where it ends with David Brent leaving, going home, and coming back with a guitar.
Yeah.
So that he can play some original songs that he wrote.
About Princess Diana.
About Princess Diana. It's just insane. And you just see this picture of this poor guy just sitting there, just shaking his head. Like, I can't believe this has actually happened. I mean, it's brilliant. And yet, at times through the series, you kind of sometimes just feel a little bit sorry for David at little points throughout the season when you just realise what a sad man that he is and just the lowest he gets at one point, particularly through, I think it was the follow-up show. They did season 1 and 2 and they stopped. Then they did a Christmas show.
And the film.
Which, and they did a film. But there are little bits that you see about his life outside of the office once he gets fired. And again, how his life hasn't quite turned out the way he wanted. But yeah,
maxing his credit cards out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, falling asleep in a hotel room drunk, watching TV and things like that. But when he has his celebrity appearance in a nightclub, it's just, that is superbly done.
Oh God, it's so good.
And it is the beginning of that sort of cringe mockumentary.
It was the first one I ever saw.
The first one I ever saw. I actually caught The Office by accident. I turned it on and didn't even know what I was watching. I just thought, this is insane. I can't believe
I'd never seen Ricky Gervais in my life, and I saw that. I was like, is this fucking real?
Yeah, it definitely got me for a little while until I realised through that episode that this is
this ain't real.
Yeah, but he is.
Did it not twig when you got to the credits and it said Ricky Gervais as?
Yeah.
No, it's during that episode that I caught. It was just kind of like, I actually thought I was watching a documentary until you just suddenly realised, this is way too much.
It's very cleverly put together. It's very good at misleading you like that, because the thing is, most people who have worked in an office, like, I haven't known a David Brent, but I've definitely known a Tim and Dawn. I've known a Gareth.
Yeah, totally. Like, very well observed.
Like, David Brent is possibly the most extreme version of the person that you work with.
My old job, I worked with David Brent Jr. Absolutely. Yeah. Luckily, I was his boss. So that helped.
I think I'm also lucky I've never worked in sales. I think if you work in sales, you're more likely to encounter someone.
Yes, it's hardcore, mate. It's proper hardcore.
He's so observant of mannerisms as well, isn't he, Ricky Gervais? He just absolutely hits the nail on the head with everything.
He literally looks at the camera more than anyone in that show. He wants the cameraman to be like, "Yeah, we get you."
But he that's just it. He does that so well. And yes, I know it maybe got it. I don't know if it could have gone any further than that. I think maybe ending it when they did was right. But it's just like Joe says, just the way he looks at the camera, the little faces that he pulls are just superb.
Oh, so
good. But I just love. I love the show. And again, it maybe hasn't probably aged as well.
Certainly
hasn't
hasn't
seen it for a while, but there's a lot of humour in that show that I think will stand the time, and I'm glad that I've seen that. I love that show.
Yeah, absolutely great pick. Gadget.
So my next one, I was going to talk about someone else, but just when you mentioned about going British, I thought this one just popped into my head. Malcolm Tucker from The Thick of It.
Fucking hell.
He was on my shortlist.
Wow. Oh.
He's kind of an objective baddie, but like when I looked up his like Wikipedia, he's marked as the anti-hero.
Yeah,
of The Thick
he's
of It.
not a baddie, but he's not a goodie.
No, so if you haven't seen The Thick of It, it is
incredible.
It's a parody satire mockumentary of life working for a political party.
Yes.
It's not really established who the political party is. It's kind of modelled on Labour in the 90s.
Yeah, New Labour.
And on New Labour. And Malcolm Tucker is the kind of communications director, character heavily modelled on Alistair. Shit, I can't remember his surname.
Campbell.
Alistair Campbell, that's it, thank you. I don't know why that fell out of my head there.
I had to drag it out then.
Yeah, heavily modelled on him. For a programme on the BBC, I think he might have the most swear words.
Yes.
Ever written.
Yeah. I think he broke a British TV record. Yeah.
Yeah. He is universally feared by everybody working in the party. And when I talk about government, it is actually proper government. So, like, the series starts with Chris Langham's character, who is an MP.
Yeah.
and his office is a shamble of shite. They're all completely ineffective at what they do. They all kind of bumble through PR crisis after PR crisis, and it's Malcolm Tucker that kind of wafts in from 10 Downing Street to tear them a new arsehole. And I suppose you could probably say he's like the British equivalent to Dr. Cox from Scrubs. Because it is, but without the caring. He doesn't care. All he wants all he wants is to push whatever the government's agenda is.
He's a pure hot-blooded politician.
Yeah, well, he's not a politician.
Yeah, well,
he's just playing politics.
Yeah, playing politics.
And it's kind of hard to describe. He's played expertly by Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi, like fucking Doctor Who, is just so good at like.
He's good at everything.
If you watch the Doctor Who seasons with Peter Capaldi, I know they're not the best ones, but like you have moments where he's caring and when he's aggressive and when he's happy and when he's sad and when he's upset. Malcolm Tucker is angry. It's just 100% angry all the time. He has 2 speeds, angry and angrier.
Yeah. He does.
And rather than just try to describe him, I've found a collection of his quotes.
Perfect. Yes. I'm down for this. Can you do it in a Scottish accent?
Fuck off, can I? You'll get him in a Geordie accent.
I'll do.
So the first one is, Terry, when I want your advice, I'll give you the special signal, which is me being sectioned under the Mental Health Act. That's the only one without swear words. Actually, no, sorry. The second one doesn't have swear words either. No, he's useless. He's absolutely useless. He's as useless as a marzipan dildo.
Oh, God. Imagine.
When describing a senior MP.
Yeah.
This guy's an epic fuck up. He's so dense that light bends around him.
That's fucking clever.
I'd love to stop and chat to you, but I'd rather have type 2 diabetes. But my absolute favourite one from him, and this is a takedown, a proper takedown of a politician. And I had to go to BuzzFeed to find this one. That's how far I've had to look for to actually get this one.
Dark web.
Yeah. I've come across a lot of psychos, but none as fucking boring as you. I mean, you're a real boring fuck. I'm sorry, I know you disapprove of the swearing, so I'll sort that. You're a boring F*** cunt.
A legend.
And in fact, like this character, I mean, my entire family loves this character. I was talking to my mother about the thick of it the other day, and she rattled off one of her favourite quotes of his, which is when there's someone who wants to come into his office but isn't really sure about it. And he just snaps up to them and says, either come the fuck in or fuck the fuck off.
Yeah.
And the delivery of the lines from Peter Capaldi is just incredible because he just rattles off these swear words, these vicious barbs, these painful insults so easily and so quickly.
He won
it's
loads
amazing.
of BAFTAs from that.
Oh, he did, yeah. He won loads of awards. He got a lot of work out of it. Obviously, it was all written by Armando Iannucci, who is just a master at satire.
Yep.
Yeah.
The man is incredible. I mean, if you haven't seen Death of Stalin, see that because again, that is fantastic political satire, but also fantastic direction on that one.
And Russians with Yorkshire accents.
Yeah, why not? Yeah,
he helped create Alan Partridge as well.
Yeah.
Massive fan of him.
Yeah, so just seriously watch my only criticism of the thick of it itself, rather than Malcolm Tucker, is the first 2 seasons they do is they do that kind of mock documentary handheld shaky cam.
Yeah. Oh.
And the first 3 episodes of it, because there were lots of little short seasons of it, just whenever there was something big politically going on in the UK. You watch the first couple of series of it, it's really hard to watch.
It's as if the cameraman's shocked by people shouting and that, and they're like shaking the cameras and stuff.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to do that documentary style of like making sure the cameraman is as far out the way as possible.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't do with like The Office because The Office itself
was
small. Yeah. But yeah, it's really shaky, and like by the later seasons, like especially when Chris Langham's character is dropped out of it, for very good reasons. When they change the focus and the focus becomes more about Malcolm than the actual politicians, the camera work kind of settles down a bit and it's a bit more watchable.
Yeah.
So funny. And, you know, and any time a character will just end a phone call to the Prime Minister by saying, fuckity bye.
Yeah, if you don't want to watch it all, there's so many YouTube clips of him. It's so.
And in a lot of cases, to get the most impact, you don't even need the context.
No, not
of
at
what
all.
He's saying of why he's insulting someone.
Yeah. I was trying to find a quote where it's very similar to the other one where you said about the last one you said about I'll tone down the swearing.
Yeah.
Where someone literally he's ranting like fuck, and some random guy just says like, "Can you tone down the swearing or something?" And he just basically walks in and goes, "Okay, I'll turn down the swearing. You fat fucking cunt!" And then just walks off. And I was just like watching it. I was like, "Bleh!" Like just spit my water out. I was just like,
Oh, he's not scared.
yeah. I was like, "Fuck me!" He's just like, yeah. He gets like really. Oh yeah, okay. And then he just like shouts at him and then
It's
just walks
guttural
off.
though, isn't it? It's almost like
Yeah.
coming from a place subhuman.
I've never
Yeah.
seen it, but I know
you
of the
should.
character, and I've seen some of the clips, which is why I know who you're talking
it's,
about.
It's
but
definitely worth watching. Like
I
in
missed
the,
it when it came out.
in the very first episode, there was a moment where they realised they fucked up something in the delivery of some news in the PR cycle, and the receptionist goes to Hugh Abbott, who's Chris Langham's character, and says, "Malcolm's on his way." Fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
They're so scared of him.
immediately. Because if Malcolm Tucker is leaving his office to come talk
You're
to you,
fucked.
you know you're fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one thing in being on the phone, it's another thing in being on the way.
Excellent.
Imagine working for someone like that. You just
Terrifying.
You would. You really would.
You're not supposed to be scared of your boss.
No.
Respect them. Don't fear them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good choice there. Stig, your final one?
Yep. Just to not annoy you, Oodles, I've gone for a British guy as well.
I were only kidding. I do like a select few American shows.
So I have gone for one Arnold Judas Rimmer,
Oh, yes.
played
Wow.
by Chris Barry. Rimmer is once the second lowest technician aboard the Red Dwarf. But he now serves as the highest ranking member of board after being resurrected as a hologram due to the only other crew member surviving the radiation poisoning being lower than him, and that's Lister.
Yep.
And he just let Lister know this
Oh, yes.
every opportunity.
Yeah.
Even though it's technically meaningless, in Rimmer's mind, he's the boss. Even though he was literally lower than service robots. Like 3 service robots outranked him.
Yeah.
Because he is now the highest member after all the rest of the crew died. It's like,
And he's technically not alive anyway.
yeah, he is the boss. Yeah, even though he's technically not alive. Like, but obviously Lister just doesn't listen to him or give a shit. But yeah, Rimmer is smarmy, narcissistic, cowardly, but naturally witty.
Oh, yeah.
With real insecurity issues. As a person, you obviously learn due to his kind of family upbringing. He's the youngest brother. He's kind of got that young brother like status.
His other family
about
members
him.
were quite high up in the
Yeah.
ranks.
And he wasn't. And it's kind of left him paranoid, delusional, and insecure. Very
He's pretty much invented self-deprecation, isn't
yeah,
he?
yeah. He's very uptight. But he displays a serious lack of understanding people.
Yeah, he loves a rule, but there's absolutely no street smarts to him whatsoever.
Oh yeah. Oh, speaking of rules, notes I made. He said he quotes the space directives.
Yep.
All the time, even though he always quotes them wrong.
Yep.
Just for some sense of legitimacy. And he's always doing his stupid bloody
salute.
Three spin salute.
Yeah, which is just ridiculous.
You'll never see him without his uniform on either.
No, he's stupid, misogynistic, and unbearably petty. Like it's just this long line of words and to just describe how much of a prick he is.
He's horrible.
Plainly put, he's a dick.
Yeah, he's horrible. He's not evil. He's just horrible.
Yeah. He's always putting Lister, Crichton, and the cat down due to his superiority complex. Despite his own failings, he seems to blame everyone. He's upbringing all Lister. Like, it's everyone else's fault. It's not his fault.
Yep.
But his insults, they're still really funny and clever. And I don't feel like... I mean, sometimes they are, but they're not really mean-spirited to the point where he's, like, being a complete horrible person. He's just being a smarmy fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they tread a really good line with him where, like, you can laugh at his insults.
I think as episodes go on, he appreciates the fact that he's got someone to talk to.
Yeah. I was going to say, because...
Other than Holly, the robot.
Yeah, despite all this, like, he and Lister have this weird unspoken bond.
Yeah.
Like, they are best friends, but they're not.
Yeah.
Like, they would never admit it to each other, but they are. They're the two people who need each other the most, because if you don't know, the reason that Rimmer exists is because the computer decided to revive Rimmer because he was the person who spoke to Lister the most.
Yes.
Because they lived together as
They
being
shared
the
a
two
bunk, didn't they?
lowest ranking people on the ship. But that's the kind of like, I think he actually cares for Lister and their friendship, and that's like the human side that kind of redeems him a little from being an enjoyable jerk, not just like a complete bastard that you dislike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has redeeming, especially later on, before the reboot. He has a lot of redemption as a character.
Yeah.
A lot.
And like, but even in the reboot, he can't get past that. Like, he has to be the top dog in that group, and he can't get past anything. And there's an episode in season 12 where he's dimensional hopping.
Yeah.
He's trying to find the perfect life, and he comes across one where he has everything he's ever wanted. He has the perfect family, perfect wife, the perfect job. This is Rimmer's perfect life. But he doesn't stay there purely because Lister is the captain.
Yeah. He can't cope.
Like, he cannot cope with the fact that Lister outranks him, despite the fact that everything else in that universe is perfect for him, and it's the life he always wanted.
And Lister's not even a wanker to him or anything. It's just
he would rather go back and sit with the three of them in our dimension that we know, sitting there and playing cards with them, because he just cannot face the fact that he doesn't outrank Lister, and that's because that's how much of a bellend he is.
That's his driving force.
Yeah. He's driving forces. He always wants to be number one, and win that group of four. He is technically the highest ranked, and he would rather have a shitty life just to be the highest ranked person, because
I always enjoy the episodes where they get to take Rimmer out of his own head and get to like play with a different part of his personality.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Like in series 3, the very first polymorph episode, where the emotional vampire creature takes away his anger.
Yeah.
And he becomes like a peace-loving hippie. and you know, they've all had some part of their personality taken, and they're trying to sort of like, we need to stop this creature, we need to destroy this. And he's sat there, he's got a little goatee beard and glasses on.
Yeah.
And he says, what we need to do is hit it really hard and really fast with a leafleting campaign. Yeah. Saying, interdimensional creatures, no thanks, and stuff like that. Or I think there's 2 episodes in total with Ace Rimmer.
Ace Rimmer.
Which is the alternate universe version of him, where he's incredibly successful.
For breakfast.
Exactly, yeah. And just like he walks through a corridor, and everyone's going, "What a guy!"
Yeah, he's the
man. And no one has ever delivered alphabetti spaghetti better than him.
Yeah.
They play on his insecurities and stuff loads, don't they? Like that episode where he's like dressed in the little schoolgirl outfit. He's like, Rimmer's not here anymore.
Yeah. Was that Mr. Flibble, wasn't it? Mr. Flibble's angry with you. Yeah. Freaked me out as a kid, that episode.
Such a good one. Really good.
Oh yeah, Rimmer's amazing, and he is probably the definition of a jerk or a bastard, because he just is. Like, there's nothing nasty about him. He's just a dickhead.
Yeah.
Like, he's not malicious with anything he does.
Oh no, it's not his fault. It's just who he is. He's born that way.
It's false. Like, it's just born from his superiority complex.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like, he has to be in charge and the man, and he can't deal with like the only person around him is a slob.
Yeah,
who just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
in the first episode with Ace Rimmer, there is a really good moment where Lister's talking with the Ace version of Rimmer, and he's saying, like, so, you know, my Rimmer's only the way he is because he didn't get any of the breaks in school. And he's like, no, in my universe, I didn't get the breaks. The one here, he got all the fancy schools, he got the good grades and that. The reason why Ace Rimmer is so good is because he failed as a child.
Yeah, and that was the issue.
And worked to
like, get where he is.
Yeah, he was forced to work hard and get to where he is. Whereas the Rimmer in the universe that we
mollycoddled,
there's a lot of dimension jumping in Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
But yeah, he had all of the advantages. He had the good schools. He had the rich parents. He had all the everything
pure middle
pushing
class.
Forward. Yeah, and he squandered it all to be a petty, arrogant cunt.
Oh, we've
So
said that
petty.
word a lot today, haven't we? Ooh.
Yeah.
To be fair, you
Title
can't
of the
say it
show.
when you're quoting Malcolm Turnbull.
Yeah, that's true. Excellent, great choice. It's almost at the top pick of our bunch until you hear my final choice. This person is a force of nature. Probably the biggest jerk / arsehole / prick on this planet. Worldwidely known. As soon as I mention it, you might be like, what? Surely he's just pure evil incarnate. Mr. Bean.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean is an arsehole.
He is the biggest arsehole to ever grace the screens. Silver screens twice as well.
It is a second film.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did 2 films.
Mr. Bean's Holiday.
Yeah, one called Bean, one called Mr. Bean's Holiday. In both of them, an absolute prick. Played expertly by Rowan Atkinson. Almost like a clown, like a mime. Do you know what I mean? Very physical.
Yeah.
Very expertly played. Now retired, so there's no Mr. Beans anymore. He's all I think he's a cartoon now, isn't it, for kids?
Yes.
But it is all family friendly to a degree, unless you have to explain certain things that's happening to children, because there's some horrible stuff. You all know who Mr. Bean is. He's huge in almost every country. Massive in China, big in Australia, America. They all know him. Africa know him. I've double checked. He's been.
Did you ask?
I asked them all, every single one of them. I phoned every embassy up this afternoon. My phone bill's sky high. But yeah, he's worldwide known. Everyone knows Mr. Bean. So rather than explain his nature, because we all know it, I've got a few of his jerkier moments, the worst things he's potentially ever done. So, very early on, he pretended to be a hairdresser. For what reason? Chaos. Just pure
From the
chaos.
hairdresser episode. It makes no sense. Why does it?
There's literally no explanation. And if you have got an explanation and you're listening to this, please write in. On the Christmas episode, he shuts the door on the kids singing Christmas carols. Go away. Gives it all that. For no reason.
Good impression.
Yeah, he does that. For no reason. There's no reason, because these kids are cute little kids just asking for it, and he's like, go away. He just doesn't. He doesn't want none of it. He doesn't want none of it. Next, brushing his teeth whilst driving. Does that?
I remember
three
that.
times. He's done that. He's done that on 2 of the films, and he's done that on one of the episodes. Brushing his teeth while driving, looking in the mirror while he's brushing his teeth. That's a prick thing to do. On one of the films, he spiked a guard's coffee with laxatives after destroying a painting. So that's pretty naughty. You can kill people by doing that.
Yeah, but he's trying to put it right, isn't he?
Yes, still. He's a prick. He could have killed him. He kidnapped a child twice.
Yeah.
So he's done that, which is pretty naughty. Pretty evil, if you think about it.
Pretty naughty.
Yeah.
I think it's right up there, is it not?
Yeah, he's pretty, yeah. And he got away with the police by the police looking away, and he's walked off. He's a mastermind. He's a criminal mastermind. He's a wrecking ball. He tried to charge his camera at a World War II film set and set off a live bomb, instead nearly killing tens of hundreds of people. So he set a bomb off. And possibly killed a heart attack victim by trying to resuscitate him with a car jumper cable. So,
Yes, I remember that one.
So yeah, I don't.
Let's not forget though. In the first film, he also drops an M&M into someone who's having open heart surgery.
Yes, he does, and tries to pull it out and becomes the
he
surgeon.
uses his hands. He's just like,
Yeah, he dresses up as the surgeon and gets in there, and he actually does save his life though.
Does, yeah. The worst one I ever thought, and it's because I've never been a huge fan of Mr. Bean, but this one scene always sticks into me. It's just how fucking mean it is. And there's an episode where he decides to play golf.
Oh god! Oh yeah.
And it's and he when he buggers up a shot at the very beginning of his time playing golf, and someone says you've got to keep playing forward.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take your ball back and start again. So everywhere the ball lands, he just hits it from where it lands. And there's one point there's a mum and a kid at an ice cream van, and she gives the ice cream to the kid, and his ball lands on the ice cream. So Mr. Bean runs up where the kid's holding this ice cream cone, He hits the ball, obviously whacks the top off the ice cream.
Yep.
The mum then turns around and says, "You've eaten that so quickly, you're not getting any more." And the poor kid's dragged off.
Yep.
I thought that's the most horrible
He's an horrible
thing.
bastard. He's an horrible bastard. But there's a conspiracy theory going about that a lot of people believe Mr. Bean to be Lucifer, the fallen angel, Satan himself. So at the beginning of each episode, you see him getting kicked out of heaven by the bright light, landing on Earth. And yeah, so maybe I did cheat. Maybe he's not just a jerk. Maybe he is pure evil. So maybe I did.
No, he is a jerk. The one thing that I thought about obviously was first was the hairdressing episode.
I don't know why he's there.
Where he just cuts that kid's hair for no reason, just puts some shaves through it, and then the second one was the one where he goes on a date in the cinema.
Oh, he's horrible.
And he comes back with some popcorn. And he's got this bag of popcorn. He's got this big bag of popcorn, and he reaches in and he passes over this tiny little one over to his date, and then he takes a bit out of it, and eats it, and then she tries to take some out of his, and he slaps her hand away.
Well, that's his reoccurring girlfriend that turns up on the Christmas episode.
And because he doesn't want to share his drink, he's got it hidden under his t-shirt. So he keeps going for this straw under his jumper. Sorry, because he doesn't want to share his drink with his date.
Yeah, he's horrible. And the time when he buys an armchair and he doesn't want to pay for delivery, so he puts it on top of his Mini and drives it.
All the amount of Reliant Robin drivers that he nearly kills because he just randomly knocks them off the road.
Yeah, they always turn on the side, don't they?
Yeah.
That's a great joke, to be honest.
Yeah.
Didn't he headbutt the monarchy?
I did, yes. He did, by accident. Well,
he nearly killed his landlord when he was decorating by putting a firecracker in a paint can.
Yeah. And also, I believe he got a turkey stuck on his head before Friends did.
Yes.
So
several years before, in fact.
They copied that, and that's why Friends is bad. But yeah,
and as a lesson to learn from modern escapism this week, Friends is bad.
So yeah, I just think Mr. Bean is the ultimate, the epitome of just being a jerk. Like I said, the conspiracies might be true. He might be Satan himself. But who knows? He's retired now. Maybe he's gone back to hell, where he belongs. But yeah, Mr. Bean. So that's us with our jerks. But I believe there's a big jerky sack right under your desk there. Gadget.
Nice segue.
Shake that jerky sack.
Fucking hell. You've been waiting the whole recording to say that, haven't you? Okay, so in the mailbag this week, starting off with Wayne Her, the last ginger. Last ginger. How are we saying it?
Ginger.
For context, the biggest jerk was on my TV. It's a joke at Biggie, and he posted a picture of Biggie in his cloud getup from the Final Fantasy VII stream. And if you look on our Twitter, you will see that picture as well.
Biggie, you look like a gorgeous little fuck boy. Oh, you are cute. You were cute. I loved it.
Do you know what?
I think he's calling you a jerk because you led us all into that stream, and then we had to sit and watch a blue screen.
You know, you messaged me just after 9:30 because that's when I said I was coming on. You said everybody's waiting for you.
Yeah.
I was literally putting that git up on
with the bike helmet
because the hair was getting in my eyes. Literally, as I was about to hit the button for broadcasting, I flipped my head back, my wig shot off. So I had to run over and get it.
Maybe you're Mr. Bean. Maybe he's been reincarnated into your body.
But yeah, that's why I was late by a couple of minutes because I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Lee Davies at Leroy Francisco on Twitter says, everybody in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is a total arsehole. But I think Dennis Reynolds takes the crown. He's a complete psychopath, narcissistic, and possibly a sexual predator.
There's no possibility about it.
Yeah. Over the 10 plus years of the show, the character's really developed a truly terrifying monster, but we always have to remember that he is a 5-star man and a golden god.
Yes, we do.
I'm just making my way through that show.
Yeah, I'm slowly getting through it as well. The more I watch it, the more I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's like, I know a lot of people who've not liked it when they've started watching it then gotten into it. I kind of think it's like Stockholm Syndrome of TV.
Yeah.
You watch enough of it, you end up loving it.
I'm on the seasons now where it's not in the 4.3 format, so I've gone to widescreen now. It's getting it.
So you love past Fat Mac, will you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
Really. I would have put them. If we hadn't talked about them so much on this pod since the start of it, they would have been number one on my list to
I think there is evil in there though. That's the problem. I think there is.
In Dennis, there is. I mean, the prom episode where they go out of the back of his car and they see the cable ties and the ropes. It's like, Dennis, what is this? And it looks like a serial killer's kind of kidnap case. Like, no, it's just my tools. I need my tools. I like to be bound and I like to bind. And it's just like, ooh, he's a creepy fucker. Yeah. It's like one of the most out, because it's always implied. It's always the implication of that he's a psychopath and a sex offender, and it's just like it's very rare that you get a moment like that where it's just like, oh, that's really obvious.
Yeah.
I now know what wild card bitches means now.
President Weevil at Pres Weevil says, has to be Blackadder for me. Intelligent, scheming, devious, sarky as fuck, and interested in one thing only, saving his own arse.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, you can't help admiring his balls.
Yeah. He's so cunning. You could pin a tail on him and call him a fox.
Yeah. And if anyone has never seen Blackadder, you're an idiot. Go watch it.
Yeah.
He's not like that in the first series, though, is he? He's a proper sniveler.
No,
it's completely different.
It flipped around in the first season, but he's like the sniveling, conniving, horrible little toad, and Baldric is the clever one.
Yes.
It would never have worked.
They flipped it over.
If it kept going that way.
But they're all canonically relatives, so it just happens.
The great entrance episode to watch would be the one with the Bishop of Bath and Wells.
100%. 100%.
Absolute psychopath. The Recasted podcast said he posted a picture of Dr. Gregory House. Highly intelligent. And you're not a jerk if you're being honest.
He doesn't like humans, does he?
I never watched House.
He treats the cases as puzzles rather than helping people. But he has an arc. He has an arc. So
the only thing I know from House is just that Family Guy thing where he just keeps going House.
House is good. There was just too many House.
Yes.
The best thing I ever saw with House is that it's in one of the later seasons, because I watched it all and I love it. It's a great show. But the whole point of the series is that he's a doctor that specializes in working out weird diseases.
Really weird.
And he has his own department called diagnostic medicine.
Yeah.
That's where it is. And they have like unlimited budget to do whatever they want to try and work out what these weird diseases are.
And it's definitely never lupus.
No. And there was one point where he's explaining what he does to like an auditor or something like that. He says, so you're a doctor? He says, well, no, what I do is the cases come in and we have to then spend the time, we have to work out what's going on, we have to cure them. He says, so you're a doctor? Like, why do you have a special department for this? You're a doctor. And he completely stumped because he can't explain why his department is special.
Yeah. It's good, but I think there's too much House.
Yeah,
I agree.
Also adding to that, at the Teacup Goblin, CJ Upson has said it has to be Dr. House. Hugh Laurie just inhabited the role. A wonderful journey discovering being right is not always the most important thing. Among the addictions and general assaults and sexual harassment stuff.
Yeah. And a bad accent. Did not like
dodgy
I've forgotten his best
You say that, but Americans did not know he was English. So they seem to be full.
The fact that they didn't know Hugh Laurie is just a shock.
Yeah, but they didn't know he was English. That's the.
It took me a long time when I first watched House to he's not Prince George. He's not Prince George.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Terrestrial Extras. He took exception to the thumbnail that we put out on Twitter about this one, saying the Modern Escapism thumbnail needs adjusting to add Cersei Lannister, which I don't think she counts because she is actually a baddie.
Evil.
She's pure evil.
And Ross from Friends.
Evil.
No.
Pure evil.
He says, yes, David Brent is the king of the jerks, but Arnold Rimmer will be my favourite because he's easier to watch and less close to any real person. Such a smeg heat.
See, I suggested Ross from Friends and he just ignored me.
You'll have to speak to our art department.
Yeah. He says, what should I put in it? I said, try Ross from Friends, and then just puts Chandler in.
Chandelier.
I was like, did he just put
no, Dr. Chandler Bong.
Yeah, he won't get that.
I don't know what that means.
It's one of the favourite gags of anyone who's ever watched it.
From what I've watched of Friends, Chandelier is the biggest idiot in there. He's just a jerk.
Ben at X-Ben Blaster X has said, Dr. Cox's got to be my favourite TV arsehole. He treats everyone, including himself, like trash, talks down to everyone, rude, obnoxious, but still hilarious at the same time. And deep down, he's just doing his best to help all these junior doctors survive. Which is basically what Stig said.
He's got a lot of votes today as Dr.
Just a lot quicker than me.
It's a Fandom Thing podcast at Fandom Thing Pod on Twitter. Says Brian Kinney from Queer as Folk. I'll agree with that one.
Yeah.
He can be a major jerk, but he grows a lot throughout the show and is actually a very giving character underneath it all.
Good.
I've had a lot of podcasts talking to us this week because the Sounds Creepy podcast, Sounds Creepy Pod on Twitter,
That's creepy.
says Niles from The Nanny is the best TV jerk in my opinion. He's an equal arsehole to all, sharp as a knife and sly as a fox. Can't look away. Also, Mr. Burns from The Simpsons. Not sure if he counts because he's already the villain, but he is a delight.
He's evil.
If you haven't watched The Nanny, Niles plays Niles is the butler for the household, and he's an acerbic cunt.
I don't know what the nanny is. I've never.
It's a 90s sitcom starring Fran Drescher where she plays a nanny to a rich family.
Oh.
And it has the trappings of a 90s sitcom. Like it's got that look of like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and like that kind of thing. It was like one of those NBC sitcoms at the time.
Yeah.
It still actually holds up to a point. It's really funny. There's some problematic stuff in it, as
there is in everything
sitcoms are want to have. But yeah, it is worth watching. It's really good. Dan, a tree smurf. Sorry, Stiggs just punched his microphone there.
He's angry.
He's mad that he's never seen
He's
The
such
Nanny.
a jerk.
Dan, a tree smurf, says, one for Stig here mainly. The wrestler Chris Jericho has got to be one of the greatest all-time jerks, or heels if I'm using the proper term.
Mm-hmm.
He had a huge career and constantly reinvented himself, but his most entertaining roles are usually when he's being arrogant, clueless, obnoxious, or daft. My favourite phase was the list of Jericho, which built up so perfectly over the space of a year to him eventually becoming a sympathetic good guy. Stig, elucidate for us, what is the list of Jericho?
Yeah, so Chris Jericho was close to being, well, he's on my shortlist for this. But, you know, wrestling, I can't talk about it too much.
Wrestling.
The list of Jericho is basically that anyone, it just kind of came out from nowhere where someone said something to him once and it pissed him off. And he just went, "You just made the list!" Like, and it was like, a list of what? And it was just like, and then eventually got to the point where he had like a clipboard and a board, and it was just anyone that pissed him off, he'd be like, "You made the list!" And he'd like write the name on the list of like, "You have pissed me off, you are on my list." But then obviously people like started to enjoy it so much. So like it kind of turned him more into a good guy. As is the one in wrestling, is if something gets over and is really funny, it's hard for a bad guy to kind of carry that on because everyone just enjoys it. So basically got to the point where he'd build it up. Someone would say something, he went, "You know what? You know what's going to happen, don't you?" And the crowd kind of like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And it's like,
the list.
"You just made the list." And everyone's like, "Yeah."
Wrestling fans are really easy to please.
He also did the biggest jerk move.
No, they're not. No, they are not.
He did the biggest jerk move by starting a really bad band.
Go on wrestling Twitter and you will find out that wrestling fans are not easy to please.
Wrestling Twitter?
Yeah, people like wrestling fans.
Talking about
wrestling I thought there was like a WWE Twitter.
No, just a community of wrestling.
Oh, yeah, don't give Vince McMahon ideas. If he can make money from it, he will.
Yeah.
WWE.Twitter.
Yeah. The list of Jericho basically became that Bart Simpson meme of "say the line."
Right, okay. Fair enough.
I reckon we should start an ME list.
You're on it.
The We Needed Roads podcast at Needed Roads. I'm assuming that's a Back to the Future thing.
It better be.
It is, yeah.
They posted a GIF of Gob Bluth from Arrested
Joe
Development.
Bluth. I knew you'd get that wrong.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know.
Joe.
You've never seen it?
He loves Blue Man Group.
Oh, you love
very
Arrested
funny.
Development. I thought
Yeah,
you
yeah.
were
I
right up your
probably would.
street.
It's one of those gaps in my watching time.
I did think about it and I put it in there and I went, no, surely he's watched it, so he'll know I know it's Joe. Yeah, Joe Bluth is horrendous. He's a pure joke. Then again, all of the Bluths are.
I'm going to say it.
Yeah,
The whole family,
he's not alone.
the whole family are just jerks.
Even George Michael.
Yeah,
Bit of a
yeah,
jerk, yeah. Not the
Just
singer.
not having a faith.
No.
Yeah.
The son of Michael Cera is called George Michael.
All right, okay. Jenna Stannis at Abducted Cow says, Walter White, he's not an awful person without redeeming features.
What?
Sometimes he seems to really care and give a crap. And seeing the perennial victim stand up to the bullies is fun, but obviously his arc takes him way too far along that line.
Mm-hmm.
I say cross that line way early.
I've said this before. I was sympathetic to him first time round. Not all by the end, no. But when I watched it the second time round, I was like, yeah, I viewed him very differently second time.
Yeah,
round.
we've had this discussion. I genuinely think he's just a baddie.
Last up for this week, we have Nimrod Hicks. Dear more often than not enthralling.
You just made the list.
You just made the list, yeah. He was already on it.
Well, I think that one's a compliment, actually. More often than not, enthralling. Yeah, that's a compliment, that
Should
one.
be always
Is it?
enthralling.
Well, he's still on the list anyway for the other ones.
Yeah.
Great show and debut from Candy last week.
Oh,
I
thank
found
you.
myself shouting at the speaker, "It's Rage Against the Machine, not Rise. How is no one picking Stig up on this?" Until I Googled and found a band I'd never heard of. I felt like a proper Nimrod.
As against.
Yeah. As for TV jerks, there is an endless list. Basil Fawlty, Blackadder, Bottoms, Richie and Eddie, and Arnold J. Rimmer, to name but a few. However, my vote goes to Adina Monsoon and Patsy Stone from Absolutely Fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
They are
Yeah.
both total jerks, but so lovable and hilarious, pure comedic genius.
Yuppies.
Where's the bolly, darling?
Oh, they are jerks. Oh,
That
Forgot
poor
about
daughter,
Fab all the
man.
time.
Just,
Oh yeah. Eddie's daughter is she's the most put upon character in British sitcom history.
I know. No.
It's and of course the main jerks with Absolutely Fabulous are whoever decided to greenlight the film because it was dreadful.
I've never seen it. Is it really bad?
It's so bad.
They always are, though, aren't they? Every
know
time
they
they
are,
do
but
these
they
like
don't need to do it.
British sitcoms, they turn them into a film. They're just terrible.
Yeah. You probably, yeah. More often than not.
They
they're
don't work
Shit, aren't
in
they?
a full length thing. They're just 20 minutes, half an hour shows.
It's the reason why they're sitcoms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, you're right, mate. You're right. So is that everything?
Yeah, that's everything in the mailbag.
Excellent. So we'll move on to Stig with the socials and a brief glimpse on what we'll be doing next week.
Mm-hmm. So you can find us on Twitter at Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find a link to all of our episodes, socials, and Discord. If you have any comments, you can either tweet us or email us at modernescapismpod@gmail.com. If you like to watch gaming streams, you can come and watch us at twitch.tv/modernescapism. Oodles, I have no idea what he's doing.
Neither do I.
Gadget, I have no idea what he's doing. we are so prepared.
Yeah, by the time this come out, I'll probably doing like a bit of Hades. I think I'm going to try and push. I've got my save from the Switch, so I'm a fair chunk through it.
I've promised Banjo-Kazooie as well. So
yeah, so
I'll be doing that.
Yeah, I'm going to just do a few weeks of streams of Hades and see if I can finally fucking escape the underworld.
You'll do it.
Yeah.
You'll do it.
Yeah, so Gadget is doing some solo streams for the next few weeks while I do the low-key spoiler specials. Record them. And then, as ever, Big E will be carrying on his Dark Souls stream.
No, I'm restarting Final Fantasy VII again.
Excellent.
We won't be able to see the first opening FMV. I'm sure that'll be cut out.
We also, as Oodles talked about at the start of the show, we have a Patreon. So you can go to patreon.com/Modern Escapism. On there, you'll find the 3 tiers: £5 for the Modern Escapees, and £5 for Scorched Sheep, or £7.50 for the Biggie bundle, which gets you everything in both bundles. Tomorrow, as this goes out, our second episode of Scorched Sheep will be out for non-Patreons.
Yeah.
And next week, we are going to talk about failed tech that we loved.
I'm so looking forward to this.
Oh yeah, me too.
This is going to be so good.
I already have the 2 things in mind that I want to talk about. So
Yeah.
So anything from
Nintendo 64.
years gone by that some tech that you loved that just fell on its ass and never took off. Let us know what you loved about it. And as ever, leave us those 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us.
If you don't, you make the list.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. If you don't do all that Stig's asked, you're a jerk. Basically, yeah. So thank you for listening. If you're a patron, keep listening. But for everyone else, in my opinion, we don't devote nearly enough scientific research to finding a cure for jerks. Thank you and good night. Do you know what? I was honestly expecting a message saying, Mr. Bean's my ex.
One of the few that isn't.
He'd have destroyed you. You'd have been dead.
Yeah, I wouldn't shag Bean.